It's time for Baby and Toddler Instructions with host Blythe Lipman. Blythe is a nationally renowned infant and toddler expert who has over 30 years' experience helping moms and dads regain their sanity, teaching them how to survive, and giving them the confidence they need to be the best parents ever. From sleeping to crying to potty training to choosing a preschool and so much more. If you're a parent, Baby and Toddler Instructions is the show you've been looking for. Now here's your host, Blythe Lipman.
Well, good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time zone you might be in. Welcome to Baby and Toddler Instructions. I'm Blythe Lipman, the host. Thanks for tuning in today. And if you're listening to a podcast and you have a question, feel free to contact me via my website, mybestparentingadvice.com. I would be happy to help, and you can also schedule a coaching appointment. I love meeting everybody, and I do telephone, video, I do in-home visits in Arizona, but I love talking to you, so you don't have to just be in Arizona to call me if you have an issue. I do anything non-medical. Crying, tantrums, sleeping, but we have a special guest today who is a sleep expert, Tracy Spackman. She is a gentle sleep coach, and we'll be talking all about getting your little ones back on schedule if you're still struggling now that the holidays are over. But even if you're not, it comes up, and it's always good to have those tools ready if you can't get your babies and toddlers on a sleep schedule. Things constantly change. But I have a few things to share first. I am, first of all, very happy to be back in Arizona. I've been back east for a few weeks helping my mother. Did do a show from back east last week, and it was freezing. It's such a nice change for a bit, but I'll tell you what, it gets old. And last week, I couldn't believe it. There was a 39-car pileup on something called the Schuylkill Expressway, which is near Philadelphia, because of black ice, and it was so terrible. The pictures were just horrible, and I think 3 people died. And if you don't know what black ice is, you can't see it. That's just what it is. It's black ice. It's on the asphalt, and you're driving, and all of a sudden you hit a patch of ice, and you just start sliding. So anyway, I want to wish everyone a very mild rest of the winter. Hopefully not a lot of snow. And also talking about the weather in Arizona and New Jersey. Here in Arizona, it's our busiest time of the year. We just had the Barrett-Jackson car auction. And the end of the week, the Phoenix Open starts, otherwise known as the Waste Management Phoenix Open. And then topped off, we're getting the Super Bowl this year. The Phoenix Open is a gigantic golf tournament, and we get over 1 million people here. So I guess with the Super Bowl, we'll only add to that. Lots of people, lots of traffic, and lots of craziness, but fun. But the weather is usually beautiful when we have the golf tournament. People walk around in shorts and tank tops. So if you want to have some fun, come on down. Recalls. There weren't any recalls this week, thank goodness. But if you go to my websites, mybestparentingadvice.com and babyinstructions.com, I keep my recall page up to date. And everything is on there. There were about 4 or 5 last week. But, I always talk about safety on the show. If you do have any kind of product and it's been recalled, do not try to finagle it and fix it yourself. The companies recall them. They'll either take them back, give you your money back, or whatever it is. Don't try to fix them. We want to keep our little ones safe at all costs. And, this is terrible. Not that I want to share terrible things, but I do want to say this. While I was away last week, a 24-year-old mom burned her baby. She poured some kind of gasoline on this newborn baby girl and lit it on fire. I mean, talk about sick. Really sick. And the reason I want to mention this, it's terrible. But, as parents, it's difficult sometimes. We are doing things. A lot of us work. You're trying to raise a family. The baby gets sick. The toddler doesn't want to go to preschool. A lot of stresses in our lives. And I just want to say everybody needs to be safe. So in my books, Help My Baby Came Without Instruction, More Help My Baby Came Without Instruction, and Help My Toddler Came Without Instructions. I'll put this in Chinese and in Spanish. In one of the chapters, I talk about, being safe and taking time for yourself. So if you are stressed to the max, it is okay to put the baby in his or her crib. It's okay to tell your toddler, let's have a little quiet time, and let him or her go in their room and give them some books. And then for yourself, take some deep breaths, make a cup of tea, sit down for, a couple minutes, whatever it takes to calm down and get your sanity back. It's tough to be a parent, and it is okay if it sometimes gets the better of you, but also don't ever be afraid to call somebody. Just say, you know what, I can't hack it today. Your partner, your husband, if you have a girlfriend, say, come on over, can you just sit with me? Because raising children is not so easy, and especially when you don't get the sleep that you need. So my guest today is Tracy Spackman. She is the Gentle Sleep Coach. She's a certified Gentle Sleep Coach. She's a mother of 5, and although that alone doesn't qualify her to be a sleep coach, it definitely helps. Tracy trained with the wonderful Kim West, who was on the show a couple years ago, with 100-plus hours of training. Andrea Strang, also with Andrea Strang and the other sleep training specialist. It was intense and most comprehensive sleep training program out there. Kim West, if you don't know her, is a master in the child sleep field. Tracy lives in Phoenix and has been helping families all over North America in person, on the phone, by teleseminar, webinar, or Skype. And Tracy also speaks here locally at lots of moms groups and hospitals and baby stores. And she recently started the most wonderful Facebook page, which is Gentle Sleep Support Group for Moms, and what gentle methods of sleep really mean. And her page is called Sleep Sisters. So if you haven't seen it, go like it. You have to read it. If you're a new mom, toddler mom, I love this page. I go on it myself. I add my own little tips. Anyway, Tracy is just great, and she makes her time available to work around your schedule, no matter what time zone, and she would love to be your sleep coach. So Tracy, good morning. Thank you for being on the show this morning. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. That Sleep Sisters, it's a group. It's a Facebook group. It's not just a Facebook page. So you want to look for, when you're on Facebook, search the groups and look for Sleep Sisters, but look for the one that has Tracy Spackman in, because there's another Sleep Sisters that's actually run by 2 sisters. My whole Sleep Sisters comment is that all of us moms, we're all sisters and we're in this together and we can be encouraging to each other. So search for Sleep Sisters on Facebook and look for the one in the description that has Tracy Spackman in the details.
I'm glad you added to that. I love the group because it's real moms talking about my child won't sleep, or what do you do? I have a 3-month-old or a 9-month-old, and you know what? Go join the group. It's wonderful. Just wonderful.
And the moms are helping each other, and if they don't know the answer, they tag me and say, hey, Tracy, what do you think about this? I give my personal, professional opinion as often as I have time.
Also, Tracy having 5 children, you having 5 children, not me. I mean, it's so important to have the support of other moms, because I know so many times when my kids were little, I thought, is this normal? And I would call a friend and say, does your baby do this? So that's why I love it. The mom-to-mom support is terrific.
Well, my whole life I've been always reading books about parenting and always wanted to have a big family. And as I've had all of these experiences with all 5 of my children, going to moms groups and lots of friend outings, and we always have people over, and people tell me about what they're going through, and I often have an idea about what they can do. Like, oh, well, have you tried this or have you tried this? And they always look at me with this look like, you are so brilliant. You need to write a book. So I heard that so often. I thought, well, I don't really want to write a book, but I started a blog, and then I started Sleep Sisters, and I feel like I get to help and share my experience to more and more moms, and the positive feedback that I get back makes me feel good, so it's win-win for everybody.
And we're all online, so, I have 3 books, and I love having my books and doing them, and, being able to pick something up in the middle of the night. That helps parents too, but we're all on the internet. On the phone, on all of our tablets, and it does make it easier. So maybe someday you'll take the blog and put it in a book if things turn around. But I have a feeling we're going to be, keep getting more savvy with our technology.
Yeah, that whole Kindle blog books, that sounds enticing. Maybe.
Well, you can always do it. Anyway, it would be great. So we're gonna have a commercial in just a couple minutes, but you can start here. Just tell my listeners a little bit about how you became a gentle sleep coach.
Well, my youngest child I had 1 year left before he was going to go off to kindergarten, and I was wondering what I was going to do with myself because I wouldn't have any more babies at home, and I've been trying not to be out in the workforce and being the stay-at-home mom while I always had my extra projects. But I was commenting to a friend about what I was going to do with myself, and she looks at me and she's like, "Hello, you should be a sleep coach." I'm like, "Oh, well, yes, that is something I probably would be interested in." This friend had been trying to get me into sleep coaching for years, but she goes into people's homes and does the coaching for the families, and I really didn't want to do that. I had little kids. And so now that my youngest was about to go off to kindergarten, I decided, yes, this is something that I think I would like to pursue. So I took the training with Kim West. It was really intense. And then my friend who does sleep coaching, after I'd finished all of my practice sessions and pro bonos and passed my exam with flying colors, and I really liked it, she said, "Here you go. Run my business for me for 2 weeks while I go on this business trip." I'm like, "Oh, that sounds fun." Okay, so I took over the consults that she had running, and I did follow-up calls, and I talked to moms, and I sold consultations, and I helped a whole bunch of families. And for 2 weeks, I was really busy doing sleep coaching full-time for her, and it was so fun, and I was so good at it. When people would ask me their questions, I knew all the answers. It was awesome, or I knew what book to look in, or I knew who to ask, and I was able to help all of these families. I felt successful. They felt successful. And so I started my own business here in Arizona, getquietnights.com, and I took it really slow because my son hadn't started kindergarten yet. So I just took it really slow, and I built it up, and now that he's in grade 2, so this was 3 years ago. So now he's in grade 2, and I've been doing this full-time ever since he went to kindergarten, and just building and building and building a reputation for myself. And I have a 97% success rate. It's wonderful.
I'm clapping. You know what? And you are great at what you do, because I came to one of your workshops, and you know what? You're so good at what you do. But we are going to break for a commercial, and when we come back, Tracy Spackman is going to tell us what a gentle sleep coach is.
We'll be right back with more Help My Baby Came Without Instructions. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. We'll be right back right after these. Homeschooling? Have questions? Get your pen and paper ready. It's the sociable homeschooler, Vivian McNinney. Fridays at 5, 4 Central on TogiNet.com. After a handsome blue-eyed Texan fell in love with Vivian at the Victoria Station in London, she found herself at DFW Airport with a tiny suitcase and a snazzy little duffel bag. Well, 25 years later, she is now happily married to that blue-eyed cowboy. They have 4 grown children ages 24 to 18 who became willing guinea pigs when she unwittingly stumbled upon the world of homeschooling. Wildflower Academy flourished for 15 years. They survived and thrived, and you can too. Vivian will be covering a wide range of issues that face homeschoolers. What do you do with kids in the summer? How to set up your one-room schoolhouse? How obedience is paramount? And what to do with those snakes? Plus, you'll be sharing ideas and insights that she gleaned from other homeschoolers. So join us for an engaging hour with the sociable homeschooler, Vivian McNinney. Friday afternoons at 5, 4 Central on TogiNet.com. This is the TogiNet Radio Network, radio with a cutting edge.
This is God in Country, the collision of faith and politics, hosted by nationally known speaker, Reverend Dr. Sean Michael Greener. Not your typical Rev. Dr. Sean is a proud military veteran, former law enforcement officer, and founder of the internationally regarded Executive Protection Team. Dr. Sean holds a bachelor's degree in biblical counseling and master's and doctorate degrees in theology, and is currently pursuing a doctorate in ministry with a Hebrew worldview focus. Through his counseling, elite life coaching, and national speaking, this ninja pastor tells it like it is. This series is biblically and politically engaged with the pedal to the metal. Join host and author of the acclaimed yet controversial book, Excellence Killed the Church, How Mediocrity is Destroying America, Dr. Sean Michael Greener. Every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on this radio network.
Welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet, the hour for all moms with little ones to come for great advice, encouragement, and great ideas for all new parents. Now, back to the show with Blythe Lipman.
Well, welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions. I am so excited. I have Tracy Spackman, the Gentle Sleep Coach, here today. We're going to talk about getting your babies back on schedule, or your toddlers if you're still struggling after the holidays or anytime. Also, if any of you out there have a question for Tracy, and if you're a sleep sister too, you can call us at 877-864-4869. That's 877-864-4869, and ask your question. I love callers. Don't be shy. So, Tracy, tell my listeners, what does it mean to be a gentle sleep coach? Because I know for years we hear about cry it out, don't pick the baby up, you're going to spoil him or her. You know, there's so many misconceptions that are they're not true. So set us straight.
Well, a gentle sleep coach focuses on the science. And so we want to do things that are low stress. And so cry it out is never my first choice. I try to avoid cry it out as much as possible. And with gentle sleep coaching, you wouldn't start before 18 months. And if you're doing this on your own, if you're trying to do some gentle sleep coaching as a parent, you wouldn't want to do it before 6 months, because around 4 months, the brain is going through some major cognitive milestones, and before that, the baby can sleep as well as they can sleep, and you should be offering lots of support. After that, the brain is ready to learn sleep skills. And so learning to relax and fall asleep is a learned skill. And so a gentle sleep coach recognizes the science behind that and tries to read the baby's sleep cues and follow kind of their rhythms so that you can keep their stresses as low as possible. And so it's not about following one particular book or one particular method. The methods that I like are usually a combination of a lot of methods, but the ones where they say, leave your baby to cry, don't pay attention, put them in the crib and walk away, that's not what we do. I like sleeping in the room. I like responding to your baby, patting, shushing, pickups, but not too many pickups. If you pick up too much, that can be overstimulating. If you come and go in and out of the room, that can be overstimulating. You've got to find the things that overstimulate your baby and the things that are actually helpful and help your baby to relax. And so when people call me a miracle worker, it's not that my method is a miracle. It's that I try to help the parents find the method that works for your baby, and it's usually a combination of things. And we have to look at eating and environment and timing. A lot of babies are sensitive to light. And so getting a really dark room is helpful. Is white noise going to be beneficial or non-beneficial for your baby? We need to figure this out. The timing, we talk a lot about cortisol, the cortisol hormone, and what overtired looks like for your baby, and how to read your baby's body language. So it's quite detailed. When people post on Sleep Sisters, my baby won't sleep through the night, what should I do? I'm like, well, that's not really a Facebook question. I could talk to you for 2 hours about what you could do. Now, a simple post is not going to be enough, but the methods that I like are where you respond to your baby. It's very gentle. And start with a lot of support, because as the baby's brain is developing and growing, the more responses that they get from the parents, the stronger that framework will be. And so you will actually have a more resilient and independent baby who can handle moderate stresses if you are being more responsive. So learning how to fall asleep is going to be a moderate stress. It's a tolerable stress. It's a learning stress. You want it to not be a toxic stress, and that's where the baby doesn't get responded to by a caregiver over a long period of time and over again. That's what you don't want to do. And so you are responding to your baby quite a bit, and then less, and then slowly, as you're seeing they're developing that learning skill, then you would pull back and do less and less and less. And so for some for some moms that are doing it themselves, like on Sleep Sisters, they talk about how they were nursing their baby to sleep, so now they're having the dad hold the baby to sleep, and then they have the dad put the baby in bed, more drowsy but awake. And so they're taking these really tiny, gentle steps backwards until the baby can do it on their own. And so as a coach, I will look at the family, what's going on, and help them find that perfect step-by-step plan that will meet the baby's needs as far as attachment and low stress, but still get results so that you don't get stuck rocking your baby to sleep or you're stuck nursing your baby to sleep. But if those things are working for you and then your baby sleeps through the night and everything is great, they're not bad. That's awesome.
So I just received a question from a listener. If you are going to do sleep coaching, does it matter if mom does it, dad does it, nanny does it? I mean, does the baby feel the different? You know, obviously we all smell different, feel different. You know, people hold babies differently. Does it matter?
No.
Or does it have to be one person that has to do what you're teaching them all the time?
I think that all of the caregivers that are going to impact that baby's life, so if it's just a mom and a dad, it's really great for both of them to take part so that the baby can see that you're both on the same page. If there's a nanny or a frequent babysitter, absolutely, they can be part of it. Or if you have a grandparent or a mother-in-law or something that lives with you that helps take care of your baby during the day while you go to work, absolutely that they can and should take part in that so that the baby can see that you're all on the same page. Babies and children are really good at compartmentalizing their caregivers, where they are and who is taking care of them. And sometimes it looks like manipulation, that with mom, it's so much harder. With dad, the baby follows a completely different behavioral pattern because the mom is different and the mom acts different and the baby knows that. And it's not manipulation, it's just cause and effect. And so if everybody can be on the same page, be doing the same thing, following the same plan, being really responsive, then all of you can have the same success.
That's funny. I wasn't.
Take turns.
I was kind of chuckling because when you said mother-in-law or grandparents, you know, sometimes it's really tough because, especially when they babysit and they love the baby, it's really tough because, you know, our parents might have done something different and they never heard of gentle sleep coaching. And sometimes to tell somebody else to do it your way is not the easiest. So is that when we call Tracy and said, could you talk to Grandma for me?
I have totally done that. I will
sure.
have a follow-up call, and they'll have the nanny or the grandma on the call, and I will explain the science and the plan to get them on board.
I'm so happy to hear that because, you know what, it is tough. And, you know, some of the tried and true things that happened years ago, not necessarily with sleep, they still work. I mean, all I can think of is the pink Johnson & Johnson baby lotion. Even though there's 10 million organic things out there, to me, a baby always smelled like that. But, so, you know, you look back, I mean, anyway, it's funny. Okay, well, thank you for explaining that. And I hope my listener, you know, if you have another question, contact Tracy and go to Facebook on Sleep Sisters to her group, not the page. So let's move on a little bit. The holidays are over, and sometimes it's tough to get the little ones back on schedule. And I want to expand this somewhat because before we know it, you know what? Summer will be here, and you'll be going on vacation, taking your little ones, and whenever you change the schedule, it's tough to get them back on it. If
you're changing your schedule because you're traveling and you're going to a different time zone, you want to, your body's circadian rhythm is kind of connected to the rotation of the earth and when the sun rises and when you're eating your meals. And so if you switch to the new time zone, your baby will probably adjust faster than you do. It always seems to take longer when you get back. So when the holidays are over and you're ready to get back on track, your schedule is falling back into place, but your baby seems all over the place. The first thing that you want to do is observe. Observe your baby's body language. Where are their tired signs? They could be moving and shifting back into place. And so when you see those early sleep cues, not necessarily yawning and eye rubbing, those are late sleep cues. the early ones like zoning out, staring off into space, glassy eyes, disinterest, slowing down, head on the shoulder, head on the floor, blinking more slowly, scrunching up your face. If it's a toddler, getting clumsy. When you notice those things and they've been up for their typical wakeful window, so maybe that 2 hours or the 3 hours that they can go, then you would go ahead and put them down for the nap, and go ahead and offer all of your sleep crutches for the daytime naps to help them get back on track. Rocking to sleep, nursing to sleep, holding to sleep, co-sleeping. That can really help your baby get back on track. And having your meals at regular times and having your wake up at a regular time and exposing your baby to sunlight in the morning or bright lights that are bright enough to cast a shadow, these things help set circadian rhythm and get back on track. And then be consistent about your wake-ups and your meal times, and then be consistent about following your baby's sleep cues to find their sleep windows and avoid that overtiredness.
Well, lots of question. Let me interrupt you for 1 second because I have another question here. You're talking about early sleep cues and late sleep cues. If your baby or toddler is one that twirls their hair or it's a late sleep cue, is it all over? I mean, then what? Do they start fighting you to go to sleep if you miss the early cues and you catch it at the late cues?
That totally can happen. If you have a more alert baby, then who's more observant, knows what they want, people describe them as bright-eyed, sometimes social, sometimes not social, but quietly observant. These alert babies, the late sleep cues of yawning and eye rubbing are the things that you'll notice. You'll notice what happens right after is a burst of energy, and that's the cortisol rush. So yes, you've just missed your baby's sleep window, and some babies can still fall asleep with a strong crutch like nursing to sleep, but the sleep is more fitful and it's harder to get down to sleep. If you know that you've missed your baby's sleep window, I wouldn't even necessarily, unless your baby is really good at going to sleep, I would wait. I would play with them, work it off, distraction, and try to catch the next sleep window. And then the next day, try to be more proactive about not missing it, because every little bit of cortisol from that overtired feeling that the baby gets messes with sleep for the rest of the day and all night. And so for some babies, yes, yawning and eye rubbing is like your baby saying, "Oh, you're missing my sleep window. Okay, let's play."
We're going to miss our commercial, so we will be right back.
We'll be right back with more help. For help, my baby came without instructions. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. We'll be right back right after these. In today's business world, a helping hand or idea that doesn't come with an invoice is a treasured find. And if that happens to you, then you need to pay it forward to keep other entrepreneurs from making mistakes or getting a raw deal. It's called Paying It Forward with Josephine Girassi, Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. Central. Josephine is going to have the guests describe their accomplishments, the lessons they've learned, both good and bad, and then sharing those pieces of knowledge as we create a movement of paying it forward. For more information about Josephine, her business, and background, you can go to mymomknowsbest.com. Josephine Girassi has always been a problem solver. She saw this need and has turned it into a movement. It's Paying It Forward with tips, tools, and advice and hard lessons learned. These pieces of knowledge can make a huge difference for you, your business, and others. So join us for Paying It Forward with Josephine Girassi, Wednesday mornings at 10 a.m., 9 a.m. Central on TogiNet.com.
This is the TogiNet Radio Network, broadcasting quality programming to the world.
Homeschooling? Have questions? Get your pen and paper ready. It's the sociable homeschooler, Vivian McNinney. Fridays at 4 Central on TogiNet.com. After a handsome blue-eyed Texan fell in love with Vivian at the Victoria Station in London, she found herself at DFW Airport with a tiny suitcase and a snazzy little duffel bag. Well, 25 years later, she is now happily married to that blue-eyed cowboy. They have 4 grown children ages 24 to 18 who became willing guinea pigs when she unwittingly stumbled upon the world of homeschooling. Wildflower Academy flourished for 15 years. They survived and thrived, and you can too. Vivian will be covering a wide range of issues that face homeschoolers. What do you do with kids in the summer? How to set up your one-room schoolhouse? How obedience is paramount? And what to do with those snakes? Plus, she'll be sharing ideas and insights that she gleaned from other homeschoolers. So join us for an engaging hour with a sociable homeschooler, Vivian McNinney, Friday afternoons at 5, 4 Central on TogiNet.com. Welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet, the hour for all moms with little ones to come for great advice, encouragement, and great ideas for all new parents. Now, back to the show with Blythe Lipman.
Well, welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions. Thanks so much for tuning in, or if you're listening to a podcast, we're talking about sleep cues. Before the commercial, Tracy Spackman, the gentle sleep coach, was talking about the early sleep cues, the late sleep cues, and if you have any questions, type them. Call me at 877-864-4869 during the show. We are happy to answer and love callers. So you know what? You were talking about traveling. Before the sleep cues, we were talking about traveling to a different time zone. And, you know, that's such valuable information because I have to tell you, coming back from New Jersey, I really need to know my sleep cues because the time zone, it's tough on the parents, too. I mean, can you say a little more about that? Because you come back, your baby's off schedule, or, you know, the holidays are over, your baby or toddler are off schedule, and as a parent, you're off schedule, too. Let's talk about the parents for just a few minutes, Tracy.
I find the fastest way to get back on the new time zone schedule is cold turkey. When it's time to wake up in the new time, set your alarm and wake up at your regular time. So if you regularly, before you went on your trip, were waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning, set your alarm for the right time zone, 6 o'clock in the morning, get up. And if you have to look at your phone right off the bat, that helps me wake up. There's something about the light that is like caffeine for my eyes, and it wakes me up. Especially if the sun isn't up yet. But if the sun is up, like in the summertime, go and open the window and look outside and expose yourself to that sunlight. That sunlight helps to set circadian rhythm. And then go eat something. Eating also sets circadian rhythm. And go to bed at a regular time. That helps set circadian rhythm. And in the evenings, really pay attention to your own body and see if you can notice your own tired signs. Are you slowing down? Are you feeling your own sleep cues? And then if you notice you got a burst of energy, your second wind, you just missed your own sleep window.
Uh-oh.
The same thing happens to your baby, except your baby's sleep windows are shorter than yours, and their wakeful windows are shorter than yours. So for like a 6 to 9 month old baby, their wakeful window is about 2 hours. So if they wake up at 6, their first nap is going to be around 8. If you travel to a new time zone whenever they woke up, they're going to need to be going back to sleep about 2 hours later. And if you're trying to jump to new times and new meal times, new sleep times, and everything is kind of off, you can supplement those pushes to the new times with cat naps and snacks. And so you wouldn't let them sleep a full sleep cycle nap an hour after they woke up, because that's going to kind of shift everything probably in the wrong direction. But you can give them a cat nap. Let's say your baby woke up at 5 a.m. I talk about this. This happens all the time. It's early rising. So whether it's from a time zone or just because you're getting insufficient sleep or things are just kind of off and you need a sleep overhaul, your baby wakes up at 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and you try to get them back to sleep and they just don't go. So then at 6 o'clock in the morning, they're ready for their first nap. But this is really when they should be waking up in the morning or even later. And so if you were to let them have a full sleep cycle nap at 6 a.m., that is actually going to reinforce a 4 or 5 a.m. wake up. So that's not something that you want to do. So what you can do instead, they're tired and you want to avoid that cortisol, overtired feeling. Give them a cat nap. Let them fall asleep. Hold them, rock them, nurse them, but wake them up after 30 minutes. That cat nap will give them a boost to help you avoid the cortisol rush, but it's not going to be restorative so that it resets circadian rhythm. And then probably an hour or an hour and a half later, they're going to be ready for another nap. That would be your first full sleep cycle nap of the day to reset their circadian rhythm.
Okay. So that's on schedule. Let me back up just a second. So when you give your baby a cat nap, or let's even talk about a toddler, is it okay to put them down and then wake them up out of the crib? Because you're talking about holding and rocking and, actually not putting them in their crib. Is it worse to put them down in their bed or their crib and wake them up that way for the cat naps? Or it doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter. You just want to get the cat nap. If your baby will sleep in the crib, great. A crib sleep that's still is more beneficial than holding. But a holding for the nap is better than no nap at all. So motion sleep is better than no sleep. So you want to try to give them a cat nap if it's kind of like if it's before 8 a.m. and they're tired, give them a cat nap so they'll get a boost, but it won't be restorative. And then sometime after 8 a.m. for their first nap of the day, then you can try to get a full 45-minute sleep cycle nap that will be restorative, and that will try to get things back on track.
How long should it take? How long? I mean, I know every baby's different. And
well,
if
you're coming back from a trip, if it's been a major time zone change, like 5 or 7 hours, like people who travel to Europe or to India or some of those really far places, that it can take 10 days to get back on track. But usually if it's just something small, like a couple of hours, 3 days is pretty typical. But your baby will probably, if you do this, your baby will get back on track before you will.
Okay, so here's a question. Lots of questions. Thanks, everybody. If your baby wakes up or your toddler, you know what? Let's use this from Eastern time. 5 o'clock is 7 o'clock back east. So let's say your toddler wakes up or baby wakes up at 4 o'clock, which is really 6 o'clock, what they've been getting up when you were away. What do you do when it is so early? It's 4 o'clock or it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and they're used to getting up.
So this would be that exact scenario that I was talking about. You can try to coax them back to sleep and see, and that's always a good try. See if you can do some shushes and some touch and some even some rocking back to sleep. But if they won't go back to sleep, give up. Start your day. You can keep them in low light and try to put off giving them breakfast a little bit longer, and then use that cat nap when they're ready for their first nap. Probably about 2 hours, so by 6. They woke up at 4. By 6 o'clock, they're going to be ready for a nap. Make it a cat nap, and see if you can put off giving them breakfast until 5, or keep them in low light until 5. And every day, try to push it. If you want to take it slow, push it by another 15 minutes, a little bit later, and a little bit later, and a little bit later. But
Great.
That cat nap scenario, I've never heard that before until I took my training, and that works so often. Early rising, if it's from lack of sleep as well, can take 2 weeks or longer to fix, but usually the time zone shifting is faster.
Okay, that explains it. That's great. And also, you know what, I'm going to add to this as a mom. When your baby actually does take their nap, their full nap, you know what? Leave the dishes. Go take your own nap. It will make the world look like a better place. Really, I mean, you have to do that. So, moving on.
I write about a lot of this stuff. I have a blog, getquietnights.blogspot.com, and I write longer answers to a lot of these types of questions. So when I get a lot of questions about the same thing on Sleep Sisters, I'll go write a blog about it. And so you can find those. There's some fun ones on there, getquietnights.blogspot.com. And I just did a really long one about early rising, the 6 things that cause early rising. If you can figure out which thing on that list is causing your early rising, that's the first step to fixing it.
You know what? I'm glad you shared that. And also, by the way, if you go to mybestparentingadvice.com, Tracy is an expert that weighs in, and I really love to take her blogs and also post them on my site as well because you have such wonderful information.
Thanks.
Great information. So I have a question. Can a parent do this themselves, or is it more effective to have a sleep coach? Because I know so many times, when I would help parents, they would say, I can't, no parent wants to hear their baby or toddler cry. So is it easier to hire Tracy?
Well, it's certainly easier because I'm going to have you spend 30 to 60 minutes filling out a 7-page sleep questionnaire. And filling out that questionnaire alone is insightful and helps you to realize things and focus your thinking in a specific direction. And then I'm able to, in a simple step-by-step, break the things down that you need to do. Take all of the hundreds of sleep books that there are there. Pull out the information that applies to you and tell you exactly what to do. So absolutely, that would be easier. But some people are hesitant to pull in outside help. But it's kind of like having, I don't know how to fix the brakes. I know how to use the brakes, but I don't know how to fix the brakes. So I'm going to take my car and get it fixed. And I'm not sure I want my husband in there trying to fix my brakes either, but if I had a background in auto mechanics, absolutely, I would probably try to fix my brakes myself. If you've read tons of sleep books, go ahead and try this yourself. Follow your heart. Do what feels right. And if you feel like you're getting nowhere, then hiring someone like me, a sleep coach, is going to be in your best interest, because I'm just going to take all of the guessing out of the picture, and I'm going to help you to follow your own intuition and give you the science and the background so that you can make this as gentle for you and your baby as possible, but still have results.
You know, and I have to add to that, because so many times parents will say, I'm such a failure, I can't do it myself, I should know how to take care of my baby, and that is so untrue. Anytime I work with a family, one of the first things I say to them is there is no question that's silly or stupid or you have to be embarrassed about. You know, let's face it, when you're a new parent, none of us have ever done this. And I don't care what stage your child is in, whether they're a newborn, a toddler, whether they're a teenager getting their license, God help us. But we always have questions, and to be able to have the support and to have a Tracy Spackman to come in and help you, it's so much quicker, because it's frustrating when you don't know what to do. It really is. I
didn't know what to do. When my babies were small, I didn't have a sleep coach, and I muddled through most of the scenarios that people tell me about. I have to start to laugh, because I totally did that, and I did that, and I did that, and I felt like I did everything wrong. And my kids still turned out fantastic.
You have wonderful children.
Great.
But
you know what?
Children.
If I had known more, if I had known then what I know now, it would have been a lot easier. I would have been a lot less stressed.
It's true. You know, I have to say, and I'll admit this, I took care of babies since I was 11. And when I had my daughter, Lindsay, my first child, those of you that are my age, my mother went out and got me Dr. Spock, because that's what parents had, Dr. Spock. So, you know what? I kind of fell apart, too. Lindsay had her days and nights mixed up. I wish I knew Tracy then, but you probably weren't born. Anyway, we're going to break for a commercial. We will be right back.
We'll be right back with more Help My Baby Came Without Instructions. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. We'll be right back right after these.
Have you heard? The pages of American Patchwork and Quilting magazine come to life on our new weekly online radio show, American Patchwork and Quilting. Join Pat Sloan, our blogging and quilt designer host, as she talks about the latest trends, ideas, and inspirations. Her guests include quilt pattern designers, authors, quilt shop owners, and our editors, all quilters, just like you. Call in with your questions. Get quilting tips from industry experts. Learn about free patterns. Hear behind-the-scenes stories from our magazines, American Patchwork and Quilting, Quilt Sampler, and Quilts and More. Get the scoop on free stuff and find out more about the best independent quilt shops in North America. To listen to a live show, tune in Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Just log on to allpeoplequilt.com/radio. To hear past shows, go to iTunes and search for American Patchwork and Quilting Radio. We hope you'll join us, because we know that quilting changes everything.
Join us every Monday at 10 a.m. Central for the Johnny Rowland News, Guns, and Motorsports radio show, with commentary about current events, guns, shooting, and firearms issues, automotive and motorsports features, and special music presentations. Johnny is recognized as an international firearms authority and ballistic engineer, as well as an accomplished and widely recognized automotive designer and longtime TV and radio host. This program draws on Johnny's experience in shooting, motorsports, and as a professional entertainer and musician. Don't miss Johnny Rowland News, Guns, and Motorsports. Infotainment at its best. Trust us on this one. It's a fun show. Every Monday morning at 10 a.m. Central, right here on the TogiNet Radio Network.
Welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. The hour for all moms with little ones to come for great advice, encouragement, and great ideas for all new parents. Now, back to the show with Blythe Lipman.
Well, welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions. I cannot believe we are up to the last quarter of our show. And thanks, everybody, for listening and sending in all your questions. There's still time. You can call us at 877-864-4869. I am here with Tracy Spackman, the Gentle Sleep Coach, and we are talking about getting your little ones on schedule and hiring a sleep coach like Tracy. So I do need to ask the questions because I've had parents ask me this as well. Is it expensive to hire Tracy?
Well, it does cost money. I'm not, well, I try to do a lot of free stuff on Sleep Sisters, and my talks are free, but to have me do a personalized consultation with you, that costs money. Prices for that are on my website, but when you look at the cost of that, if you compare it to the money that you're spending, well, one mom told me that hiring me was way cheaper than the gas that she would spend driving her baby around to get sleep. That's totally true. So cheaper than the gas. It's hiring me would be cheaper than replacing your garage door because you drove through it, because your perceptions were skewed, because you were sleep deprived. Hiring me would be cheaper than all of the red light tickets you would have to pay because you're driving sleep deprived. So if your life is falling apart because you're not getting enough sleep, hiring me would be the cheaper option.
And also, I have to add to it and not calling the police because I've shared this story. I had a friend who years ago, baby would only sleep if the dad drove the baby around, and he drove and drove. And, you know, of course, each time he stopped the car, she would start crying. And so finally, one night she was sleeping and he decided to pull over, and they both slept in the car all night, and poor mom woke up and nobody was there. So hiring a sleep coach is really good for your sanity, too.
Everybody tells me it was worth every single penny, and a lot of people tell me I should charge more, but I don't.
You know, how many times, I am sure you've heard this because I have. I had people have called me for issues and they would say, I would pay $1 million to get my toddler to stop biting or my baby to stop crying or whatever, you know, the issue is, because personally, my opinion is if you do have an expert, sometimes you can fix the problem a lot quicker than you can yourself. Not that you don't know what you're doing, but it's tough when your baby cries or your toddler won't listen to you, you know, and you get so frustrated. When you have somebody come in that's not a family member, it's a little easier.
I'm looking at it from a new perspective. I've even helped doctors and pediatricians. And they're like, why do I have to call you? I'm so embarrassed that I have to call a sleep coach. But, you know, they don't cover sleep in medical school. That's not something that they discuss. And so it's totally fine. They're going a doctor that is working with me is probably going to get it a lot faster than I am, but it's hard to see what's right in front of your face. I was having a sleep issue with my 7-year-old at one point, and I was talking about something with Kim West, and she's like, Tracy, your child is not getting enough sleep. I'm like, what? Right in front of my face. I couldn't even see it. I'm training to be a sleep coach, and Kim West calls me on it. She was totally right. As soon as I fixed that little thing that I was doing wrong, it changed so much in my 7-year-old's life. It increased his ability to handle stress. His temper tantrums stopped. It was amazing. But I was training as a sleep coach, and it was right in front of my face, and I didn't see it. A new perspective is so valuable.
It really is so valuable. So who has more patience with this, moms or dads?
Oh, you know, I always think that dads are going to be more stoic, but I get lots of moms that tell me that their husbands are the first to give in. And so I thought about this. Dads tend to be more stoic, but moms overall tend to be more determined. So it really just depends. What's funny, though, the difference between moms and dads when they're sleep coaching is that with any sort of shushing that you would do, moms tend to do long, drawn-out shushes, and dads do crazy shushes. And when I talk about that in my consultations, the parents usually start laughing because I'm totally right for them, too. It's hilarious.
It's funny. That's funny. While you're saying that, I'm thinking, because we're so different, with male and female, dads want to fix the problem like right now. Moms want to fix it, but they want to know why it happened, and they want to be able to emotionally fix it besides, just the physical piece. And dads get in there. That makes a lot of sense with the different shushing.
A lot of moms tell me that their husband wants to do cry it out and they don't want to. And so, well, let's get you both on the same page. Let's come up with a plan that you can both feel comfortable with, and let's get both of you to do it.
Do you think, though, well, let me ask a question about crying it out. What do you do if you have, let's say, a 11-month-old that's standing up in his or her crib, and they've got you. They know if they stand up, you're going to come in, and they know if they cry, you're going to come in. They've got you. They know you've done it a couple times because you want to make sure they're okay. You're a new parent. You want to do. They need something, so you go in, but they've got you. I'm going to cry. Mom's coming in. I'm going to scream. I'm going to stand up in my crib. Mom's coming in. What do you do when you have a little older child that they've got you?
I come across this all of the time, but you're so responsive at the very beginning of the plan. There's no coming and going. You just stay. You're there right off the bat. And as they are crying and fussing and trying to get you to do what they want you to do, your response is responsive. You're there, but you're not giving them what they want. You're giving them what they need, absolutely, but not giving them what they want. It's like if they want coffee and chocolate bars for breakfast. It's like, no, I'm going to offer something healthy for breakfast. And offer it. It doesn't matter how much you cry. I'm not giving you coffee and chocolate bars for breakfast. It's kind of like that. And so you stay and you offer support and you talk about it. And at some point, you know that they can do it, and they do it. And your persistence can outlast their persistence. And if you constantly, regularly show response and love and attachment and attention, and you're helping their body be in the right place for sleep. They're not overtired. They've got the right environment. They're getting enough day sleep. Like, you've put them in a scenario where they can be successful. Then when they are successful, they're at the point where you've done all the initial stuff, and now you're at the point where you're not in the room anymore, and they stand up. They can go back to sleep falling. They can get done on their own. You just have to wait. But if something sounds wrong or something's different, you can always go back in and check. But hold your ground and be responsive, but not rescuing. It just kind of depends on the scenario.
And just remember, you're bigger, and what you're doing is you're doing it for their own good, and you're doing it, for everybody to be healthy. Because parents will say, oh, it's so hard, it's so difficult, but I like how you say stay, but you know what? Meet their needs, but don't give in to it. That is such important information. So, Tracy, do you have any funny stories besides driving through the garage door you want to share?
I do. I have this one mom that this year, she posted this on Sleep Sisters. That's why I can share it. Normally I don't talk about people's funny scenarios, but when she told me about it, I asked her to post it so I would be free to share it. She had fumigated the day before she started her sleep coaching. And you know how that makes all of the bugs come out of the corners before they come out and die? And so she was doing the sleep coaching, and a spider crawled up on her, and she swallowed it. And she's trying not to freak out that she just swallowed a spider, because she's very determined, and keep doing her shushes and the things that she was doing she was sleeping in the baby's room. And she forgot her water bottle in the bathroom. So she swallows a spider. She's trying not to freak out, and she has no water. And she so determined not to leave, to follow through. And I just have to laugh. It was hilarious. And so the take-home message, don't forget your water bottle in the bathroom. Your throat will get dry, or you might swallow a spider. You absolutely need your water bottle. And don't fumigate the day before you're planning on doing sleep coaching.
That's so funny. I don't know what I would do. Oh, my gosh, that's awful. Well, you know what? Anything else? Do you want to share any other funny stories?
I have a ton of moms who would say, I have a confession. And so I wrote a blog about this. It's called Confessions of a Mom Who Did Sleep Coaching. You have to look it up on my blog spot, getquietnights.blogspot.com. And the confession is that she got more sleep doing her sleep coaching than she was getting before. Isn't that amazing?
I think, you know what, that's worth every penny. Because it's funny, I had a guest on my show a number of years ago. They have a site called You Know You Suck as a Mom When. It's on Facebook. And it's pretty funny because we all, You know what? Confessions are good, but on that note, that's a great way to end this. I'm going to have to say goodbye. Please tell my listeners how they can get in touch with you. You're a wonderful guest.
My website is www.getquietnights.com, and you can call the number on there to get a free 15-minute chat with me. Please go on to my group Sleep Sisters on Facebook. I help people all over North America. I post charts. You can Facebook message me. You can follow my blog spot. Tons of ways to get a hold of me. Text me, 602-524-7610.
Well, don't forget that number. It's on my website. Tracy, thank you so much. You will have to come back because sleep issues are never going to go away, and I know you can help. So thanks so much. I will talk to you soon.
Anytime.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow, what great information. And Tracy's information is on my site, mybestparentingadvice.com and babyinstructions.com. And if you would like to be a guest on my show, please contact me through my websites. Again, babyinstructions.com and mybestparentingadvice.com. Because we all have so much to share, and there's always something new to learn and to help us be the best parents ever. Also, don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Pinterest, LinkedIn. I do lots of posts. I like to put the pictures on. You know, I answer questions about all kinds of non-medical issues, so check it out. Like me on Facebook. Join my pages. Also, some exciting news. Christopher Whalen, the author of The Foxhole Father, and myself are going to be launching a special series of videos and information for single dads. Recipes, activities, how to set up the room, preschool questions, how to take your kids to the pediatrician. If you're a single dad and get your kids for the weekend or weeks, I know you have questions. So I am very excited and looking forward to helping these single dads and making your lives easier. Because you know what? None of us know answers. Single, married, whatever we are. It's always good to get the extra help. And I'm so excited to share all of my tips with you. So I'd like to leave you today with these little gems. A mother is an experiment on how long your body can function without adequate sleep, nourishment, and fueled only on adrenaline, coffee, and baby smiles. Isn't that the truth? And again, you know me with my humor, a message from your baby. Mom, I hate to say this, but you will never sleep in again. Okay, if you called Tracy Spackman, the Gentle Sleep Coach, you will sleep in again. This was such a fun show, and I love all my guests, and what great information. You know, thanks for tuning in each week. Have a great rest of your week. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.